So you're looking to purchase a awesome gooseneck kettle for yourself and this year, and you're just wondering if you should get the Pro, which is the newest release kettle from Timemore, or you should just save that couple dollars and get the Smart instead. Well, in this video, we're going to deep dive into this video between the two comparisons and to see which stands out on top of our book. Stay tuned. Let's go. Hi guys, my name is Josh and I'm from Hisbrew Webstore, helping you to make better coffee each step of the way. Well, over here on my right, you have the Timemore Pro, which is the newest release kettle by Timemore. And on my left, you have the Smart, which is an older version of Timemore's kettle. Now, let's just first talk about the differences between these two. Now, the price of the newest release Timemore Pro is at about $150 while the Smart here, it's at about $100. So in ringgit terms, or in Malaysia ringgit terms, it's about $450 for the Pro here, and for the Smart about $300. Now the most important thing is about the capacity. Now the Timemore Pro here is a 900 milliliter capacity, while the Smart is a 600 milliliter capacity. So that's a huge difference, 300 milliliters. Now I think Timemore made this new version for competitors in mind. Competitors generally have to make at least 3 cups of coffee. For a 600 ml, you definitely cannot achieve 3 cups of coffee, right? The most is 2 cups, while a 900 milliliter gives you that flexibility of 3 cups. So if you're a person who likes making a lot of cups of coffee at a single time, go for the Pro because it's higher capacity, and the Smart adds a lower capacity. Now let's just talk about the weight. The weight is pretty important because it's how you hold the kettle, right? And to see how ergonomic it is in your hand. Now for the Pro, the weight here is at 635 grams, while the Smart is 560 grams. So give or take about 80 grams difference. Not much of a difference, being that this is also a bigger capacity. So it's pretty okay, right, between both of them. Now, what's new about the Pro here? The Pro, first of all, it comes with the right handle and the left handle. So it really depends on what dominant hand you have, right? For us, or for me, it's the right. And so I bought the right. And you can see my thumb, right, just resting on the handle itself. The left would just be on the opposite. And if I hold it, the resting position would be just on the other side. They proclaim that when it's designed in such a way, when you do pour, it has a straight, or you're pouring in a straight way, straight function, and gives you a more accurate pour. But you know what? I think that's debatable because this handle here, I don't necessarily have to pour straight. I just need to control the flow rate of the pour, right, at the end of the day. So the spout is different, so that's why they have the right and the left, but I'm not convinced by it, right? The other thing that's new on the Pro is that the socket behind, or the cable behind, you can take it out, right? You can take it out, and this is pretty useful because you can transport it anywhere you want to go, right? Where the Smart, you cannot take it out. You still can transport it, but you might get wires tangled up and so on. Another thing about the Pro here is that not only can the cable be unhooked or loosened, but the cable is long enough. It's 2 meters long. While the Smart, I think they only gave about 1 meter. This is practically not enough. And if you put it on your kitchen counter where your cable or your plug point is pretty far away, this will not work, right? You gotta put it close to a extension cord or a plug point. So another point goes to the Pro. Now, another feature about the Pro that the Smart does not have is that you can change the temperature between Celsius and Fahrenheit, while the Smart here only allows you to, or only shows the number in terms of Celsius, right? Now, that being said, when we talk about the design and functions, right, both of them, their base are pretty much the same size. The Pro is just slightly taller, but if you put it on top of each other, it's pretty much the same. Now, the design of it is drastically different. Now, let's just take a look at it. Let's turn it on. You can see my right here, it's the Pro. It has, again, the temperature button, right? Same as the Smart. But what is different right now is the adjustment of the temperature itself. So you can see that you can either hold and press it down and the numbers would go, or they still retain that sliding function on the previous Smart, right? If you look at the Smart, you see the only way I could adjust my temperature is by sliding it. and it's not very intuitive. Now, in order to heat it up, you just press the turn on button, similar to the Smart or the old Kettle instead, right? So these are the differences. Obviously, way improved, right, for the Pro, where you could just press the button and you could get as accurate as possible. Now, one of the features that, or one of the cons that the new Kettle has is its precision. It only is precise up to, let me turn this heating off first. If you could see, this is the current reading, right? If you could see, hold on. If you can see, this is the current reading of the temperature itself, 28 degrees, 29 degrees. You can see here the Pro, the resolution is only at every single degree, right? Every 1 degree. While this right here, the resolution is at every 0.1 degree, right? So it depends whether how accurate you want it to be. For me, I mean, 1 degree is more than enough of a resolution. I don't think 0.5, 0.01 makes that much of a difference. And furthermore, when you adjust and set the setting that you want, it's only in terms of 1 digit change, right? So that's some of the drawback of the Pro, right? Now, let's also talk about the base. The interesting thing about this Timemore is that the base are interchangeable, meaning I could take the Pro and put it on the Smart, and it can heat up. This vice versa, right? This, it can read the reading and it can heat up too. Now we're going to talk about the heat up time, right? The controls, the flow rate, and the heat up time. Now, the heat up time is drastically different for the Smart and the Pro too. Let's talk about the wattage. For the Pro, it's 1,350 watts, right? For the Smart, it's 1,000 watts. So about 350 watts less. So that makes it about 20% less, right? And you could see it drastically in terms of its heat up time. To heat the Pro from room temperature all the way to 100 degrees for 500 ml, it took about 1 minute and 56 seconds. While the Smart, all the way to 100, from room temperature to 100, took about 4 minutes and 9 seconds. That is more than double the amount of times. That is also mainly, if you look at the B-roll that I'm showing right now, the Smart here heats up in such a way where when it's about to achieve the certain target temperature, it starts cutting off its voltage of heating up. I think they're trying to do that in order to prevent overheating, but I think it's way compensated in that it took a really long time to heat up to 100 degrees, right? And so we tried now, instead of heating up to 100 degrees, let's say heating it up from room temperature all the way to 90 degrees, what would be the difference? Well, on the Pro, it took about 1 minute 45, and on the Smart, it took still longer, 2 minutes and 33 seconds. So if you're a person who's impatient, you just want it to be heated up as soon as possible, again, a win for the Pro, right? So the Pro has a lot of plus points here, right? Now, flow rate. Flow rate is pretty important in terms of how fast the speed that you want to pour it at. Now, off the bat, the Pro here gives you a maximum flow rate of 20 grams per second all the way to 25 grams per second. Meanwhile, this Smart here struggles to go above 20 grams per second due to its flow restrictor here. And so if you're a person and your pouring technique has a faster flow rate, or if you're just using it as a multi-purpose kettle for teas, for hot beverages, right? This is sometimes, I feel, a little bit too slow when compared to this, right? Now let's talk about the Spout design. If you look at both of them, the Spout designs are, I would say, very, very, very similar. And so while pouring and using the two kettles itself, I barely could detect a difference. The quality of it, this somehow just feels more robust. It's not to say that this is plasticky or cheap, it's still pretty nice, but just I think the weight and the heft of it gives you more confidence in your pour, right? Now, to conclude it all, right? Now, to conclude everything, I think if you're a person who has already bought the Smart, I think there's no point in upgrading to the Pro. But if you're someone who wants to get the first gooseneck kettle ever and you want something that could last you for some time and that you'll be happy with and satisfied with, I think go for the Pro, right? It's just a couple dollars more, like 20 to 30 US dollars more. For those of you in Malaysia, about 100 ringgit more or 150 ringgit more. You are getting a lot of upgrades that the Smart did not have, right? The biggest feature that I think of the improvement that Timemore made was the adjustment of the temperature, right? It's just so much easier now to adjust the temperature. And then the second feature that I really like, although it's minor, but as you use it day to day, you will realize how important it is. It is the cable length, right? This is too short. Like, look at it. When I plug it in here, I have to have my extension cord right next to me. Otherwise, I could not access it. So, what about you guys? What do you think about this too? Would you buy the Pro, or would you just stick with the Smart? Well, let us know. And I did another video between a comparison between the EK Fellow Stack and the Smart. You can check it out in the description below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.